All right. Good. There we go. All right. Good morning, everybody. So, this morning we're going to talk about the elections that happened yesterday. It was not a good night for America. The Democrats had a great night. The Republicans, well, Americans had a bad night last night. Zohran Mamdani won mayor of New York City, apparently. And that may be the beginning of the end for the country. I'll get into that a little bit more in just a minute, but first, I want to apologize for running behind this morning. Guys, just recently, over the last week or so, everything got updated. The Rumble Studio backend software got updated. Photoshop got updated, and all the tools that I use to produce the show got updated, and they moved shit around. And I've been getting up earlier and earlier the last couple of days because I'm having to relearn parts of all this software to keep doing the things that I've been doing for years. And it's just not enough. So anyway, let's get to the actual topic this morning. And I'm gonna keep this morning a little bit. I'm gonna try to wrap up right at 8 o'clock this morning because I've got places to be today. But let's get started with this article from the AP. Zohran Mamdani wins New York City mayor's race, capping a stunning ascent. It wasn't stunning. There is an explanation, and I'll explain it to you in a moment. But Zohran Mamdani was elected mayor of New York on Tuesday, capping a stunning ascent for the 34-year-old far-left state lawmaker who promised to transform city government to restore power to the working class and fight back against a hostile Trump administration. The Trump administration is not hostile. Okay? That framing right there, this is important to understand. That framing right there, the hostility is the left. The left is hostile to America, to America's interests. Right? Donald Trump has been working to deport hostile foreign invaders. Donald Trump has been working and making policy decisions and taking policy actions that are explicitly and specifically in the interests of the United States. Anyone who calls that hostile is on the wrong side. Okay, so yes, Donald Trump is hostile to the enemies of the United States of America, which includes people like Zohran Mamdani, a foreign-born communist Muslim. We've seen this happen before. Okay? A big part of what allowed Mamdani to ascend to office is the fact that New York City is just under 40% foreign-born. Now, understand, that does not mean that 40% of New York is non-white, made up of the various diaspora of foreign nations who have come here and integrated and assimilated and come in as legal immigrants through lawful channels and, engaged with the American culture and American society in order to pursue the American dream. No. In fact, we're going to talk about replacement theory in just a minute. And you'll note I said replacement theory. We'll talk about the Great Replacement Theory. And the critics of the Great Replacement Theory will say, oh, you're just a racist that thinks we want to kill all the white people. No. The fact that you want to kill all the white people is actually almost entirely separate from the replacement theory. Because it's not white people specifically and exclusively who are being replaced in America. It's Americans. We saw this in Dearborn, Michigan. That was an op, right? The Obama administration airdropped 1 million Somalis so that they could create a voter bloc to install an anti-American, brother marrying illegal immigrant. And yes, Ilhan Omar is an illegal immigrant, right? Now, when I say, in this context, when I say illegal immigrant, I am not alleging that she crossed the border illegally. Let's be clear on that. She defrauded the American government in order to attain the citizenship, which she then used to ascend to high office. Now, one thing that needs to happen, and it baffles me that we don't hear Republican politicians talking about this already. Being foreign born should be an immediate bar to any elected office in the United States of America without exception. Okay? Any. And I would actually take that so far as to say, if you are the child of, let's say you've got an American soldier, goes overseas, gets married to a foreigner, and the baby is born off base in the foreign country, that baby is not eligible for public office. Born on base, different question. It's a different situation because now you're talking about U.S. territory. But if you're born in a place that is not U.S. territory, you are not eligible to run for high office. Might we lose some good ones in that distinction? Sure, that's possible. But the fact that any given baby might be the one that develops cold fusion and freezes from the trappings of limited energy does not sway the hearts of the abortion-obsessed eugenicists that are the left. That is a sufficient rejoinder for my thinking to say that if you are foreign born, you cannot hold office in the United States. Patrick is pointing out, there's another thing going on here. There was a video running around on TikTok. You know what? I wish I had that. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I think you shared it to us yesterday, Patrick. We've talked about, there it is. It's not just the hostile takeover of all these hostile foreign invaders that are moving into the country. These people are absolutely shameless. I mean, just completely shameless. Here you go.
In New York, about to illegally vote for Zohran Mamdani 6 times. Yeah. 6.
Because there's no ID requirement, right? He says it right at the top of the video.
I'm here in New York, about to illegally vote for Zohran Mamdani 6 times. Yeah. 6.
Yeah, there's nothing to stop him from doing it because he can just walk in and say that he is a person that he isn't. And that's all it takes. Right? Oh, here you go. Voter fraud alert. This guy just admitted he was on his way to vote illegally for Mamdani 6 times. I live in New York in NYS. It was probably supposed to be NYC. That was not AI, Sergeant Major. There's no ID requirement. You just sign your name. You just lie about his address and vote in multiple precincts. So here's the way that works. Let's say he goes and votes, and his vote is illegal based on what he just said, and he gets caught after the fact. Oh, New York State. Yeah, good job, Patrick. He gets caught after the fact. Here's the thing about that. When people get caught committing voter fraud, they may be prosecuted, jailed, fined, whatever. Hell, we can execute them. And I'd actually be comfortable with that. But here's the important thing. It doesn't change that they voted. Secret ballots, guys. Once the vote is cast, it's cast. Now, I would like to say, you know what? True, fair play. Once you have somebody caught committing voter fraud, well, the fact stands. That entire election has been corrupted, and it should not be recounted. It should be shut down, discarded, and then you conduct a new election. That's what should happen. Sergeant Major says purple thumbs. Hell yes. Purple thumbs. I'm in. Right? But let's be fair. If we did that, if we shut down and reran every election the moment it was discovered that someone voted illegally, that someone despoiled the election, corrupted the entire election, if we were to have to rerun every election every time a fraudster was caught defrauding an election, we would have to reconduct every election. And I do mean every single election. And yes, Sergeant Major, public executions of convicted voter fraud. I'm here for it. Are you kidding? I will buy that pay-per-view. That should be an annual event. We could make a game show out of it, right? You got the whole line of voter fraudsters, and you've got a big wheel you spin, right? And what's the wheel says? Guillotine, hanging, firing squad, lethal injection, electric chair, toaster in a bed sheet, Volvo in a circus tent, pack of wild dogs, right? Because that is a direct assault on our constitutional republic. That is who this enemy is. Kenev says we can't even prosecute treason. Yeah. We can't even prosecute murder, guys. I said hanging, but I would be happy to add drawing and quartering to that list, Aaron Olson. In fact, we could have multiple wheels. If you come up for drawing and quartering, then you have to spin another wheel and determine whether it's the tree, the horse, or the monster truck. There's an old method of execution. What do we call it? It wasn't called treeing, but it involved using trees for. It wasn't drawing and quartering. It was merely halving. But basically, they would tie a man at the ankles. They'd drag down a couple of trees, right? We covered this in the show, in the deep dive about Alexander the Great 2 weeks ago. They would drag down a pair of trees, right, and stake them down, and then tie a man by the ankles to the two trees, and then cut the two trees loose. Not the one you want. Pitt Danny says, unless Mamdani really fucks things up, he's going to. And understand, that is a feature, not a bug. It is. This is so important. It is not the case that communists are incompetent, that they are bad at what they do, And then for that reason, every time a communist is placed in power, there is a cascading event of unintended consequences that result in the catastrophic failure of your domestic institutions. That is what appears to be the case, and that is the case that most opponents of communism will argue. I'm telling you, it is not. It is not the case that communists are incompetent and fail because they're too stupid to understand how bad their ideas are. Maybe 20 or 30 years ago, it would be reasonable to believe that. But the long chain of evidence, the long string of abuses that we have as a result of the application of the quote unquote policy ideas of people like Zohran Mamdani and his ilk is instructive, and it is evidentiary. It tells us very clearly that these are not unintended consequences. They are, in fact, the objective. And I would take it a step further. Given Mamdani's promises, like, I will tax whiter neighborhoods, right? That was literally on his website, to increase taxes on whiter neighborhoods. You can rest assured that the objective is to cause the cascade failure that they're causing. They want to turn your cities into third world shitholes. They want them to look like, Detroit and San Francisco. Gang violence, rape gangs, drug trade, human trafficking, feces on the streets, free needles for drug addicts. Also, that they can create an underclass that requires government funding in order merely to subsist. And then use that and point to that and say, look at all this, Eve. Look at all the terrible suffering here. Don't you people have hearts? You have to reach your hearts out to these people and open your wallets and give them your money. You're already paying half of your earned income, more than half, in taxes, right? You are already paying more than half of your income in taxes. More than 50% of your earnings goes to someone else at no benefit to you. Guys, that's... If you were to walk in front of a judge, and show him a contract that says, look, I'm losing money and I'm not getting anything for the money. I mean, that's contract law 101, the Universal Commercial Code. Oh, you have a contract here where there's no benefit of the bargain? There's no meeting of the minds. You are coerced into surrendering consideration without compensation, or vice versa. You're coerced into rendering compensation without consideration by a dramatically outsized and more powerful entity who is coercing and forcing you into this contract against your will, or who has, through the alleged and agreed terms, so-called, of the contract, placed you in a position where there's no benefit of the bargain. There's not a correct meeting of the minds. You're looking at an adhesion contract with coercion. I guarantee you, if the arrangement that we have with the federal government vis-a-vis taxes and benefits from our consideration were to be examined by a judge in a court of law in the context of a contract between a company and an individual, it'd be thrown out on its face. The contract would be nullified by the judge as a grotesque violation of the Uniform Commercial Code. Why in the hell should we ever think about our relationship with the government in any other way than as a contractual relationship between an individual and another entity with whom there is a consensual agreement. We don't have a consensual agreement, right? What is the theoretical governing principle? That the government governs with the consent of the governed. I do not consent. You cannot argue that you have the consent of the governed when the governed are coerced. And more than half of your money goes away in taxes. Oh no! I mean, I make less than six figures. I've only got a 27% tax break. Yeah, that's your income tax. How about your property tax? How about your ad valorem tax? How about your gas tax? How about your sales tax? How about your vice tax? I can do this all fucking day. You pay taxes on taxes. How about your estate tax? Taxes on money that was already taxed more than once. It is not a feature, it's a bug. We just can't tolerate that argument anymore. It's unintelligent. It is a feature. It is not a bug. The only bug in their system is the one that they want to make into paste and feed you and your fucking pods. That's where we're at, guys. Oh, and then I was about to wrap it up. I do want to talk about Jay Jones for just a minute too. Jay Jones is is now apparently going to be the AG in Virginia. He's the one that had the text messages where he said he wants to see his opponent's children, not just he wants to see his opponent dead. No, he said Hitler, Pol Pot, the opponent. I'll put 2 bullets in the opponent. He said, I want to see her children dying in her arms to change her policy positions. He's expressed that he's willing to pull the trigger himself. I'd put, between Hitler, Pol Pot, and this guy, I'd put 2 bullets in the opponent. He wants to see her children murdered and has said that he's willing to do it himself. Democrats just elected that. We saw how they celebrated when Charlie Kirk died. We saw how they celebrated Luigi Mangione. We saw how they celebrated that attempts were made to assassinate Donald Trump and how they lamented. And we're not talking about random crazies. We're not talking about random crazies on the internet. We're talking about your average Democrat voter. Your average Democrat. A lot of boomers totally happy to see people murdered. Again, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Nils Pop says, STFU talking about my city, London, you know nothing. Nils, you are an unintelligent troll who has tuned in just long enough to make that comment and gone away, because if that weren't the case, if you had been watching, you would know that I haven't even gotten around to talking about London. Yes, there is a reasonable comparison to be made with Zohran Mamdani ascending to the seat of power in New York City, a comparison to Sadiq Khan. And yes, I'll talk about London. London elected a communist Muslim. What does London have now? Violence, rape gangs, hostile foreign invaders, and the replacement of the local nationals. The ouster and replacement of the local nationals, collapsing economic order, cascade civil failure. London is a failed city. It has collapsed economically and by population. And that is a result of the features, not the bugs, of electing socialism and foreigners. I mean, Nils Pops says, I know nothing. Clearly, you don't know me. Maybe you should tune in the future, and I'll teach you how to stop surrendering your blood and treasure to hostile foreign invaders who seek nothing more than your destruction. They're not even interested in your wealth. They only want you to suffer. They only want you to suffer. Okay, well, on that cheery exposition, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up because, like I said, I've got shit to do today. Sorry, guys. We'll have some longer episodes later this week, and we should be back to the deep dive this upcoming Saturday. Mario and I are still fleshing out what the new deep dive is going to be on, so look forward to that. I think we're going more philosophical this weekend, unless we have something else come up in the news that we want to dig into. But yeah, y'all be safe out there. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow. Pit Danny, an inveterate boomer, says, fucking boomers. You're right, man. You're right, Danny. Fucking boomers. Oh, this is good. Okay. Angles man is, I assume that, okay. I almost got out of here before I saw this comment. I assume that Angles man is talking to Nils Pops. For a second there, I was about to say, what? Oh, please call the police on me for hate speech. Oh, I see. Engelsman says, stay in your own country's podcast and shut your mouth before we call the police on you for hate speech. You know what, Engelsman? You are watching on YouTube, and that was a mistake. So I'm going to show you something real quick, Mr. Engelsman. I'll see this, and I want you to take it to heart, and I want you to take action on it. I am giving away right now, because of your comment, I'm giving away a free membership. Santa Steve was gifted a membership by the Brushfire Mind. I just gave away a free membership to one of our viewers. Those free memberships go out they go out when I say go out, but then they go out randomly to one viewer who is watching on Rumble while we're live and is logged in to Rumble with a free or paid account, but it is 1 month of free membership to the Brushfire Mind channel, which includes all of Rumble Premium, right? That's your Tim Pool, your Steven Crowder, Salty Cracker, Russell Brand, all the big name, the Charlie Kirk's stuff, Charlie Kirk's network, the damn, I forgot the name of his group now. I feel awful, but yes. So, Angles man, here's what I want you to do. I want you to set up your Rumble account, download the app on your iPhone, right? In fact, if I'm going to say this, I'm going to make Rumble pay me to say it. Okay. Here you go. Now Rumble has to pay me to say it because I put the QR code up there. So, if you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content you want. Once you've got it, search for my channel, hit follow. That way you'll get a notification every time we go live. No missed shows, no extra steps. You grab it right now using the link in the description or the pinned live chat, or by scanning the QR code right there on the screen. All right, download it to your phone, and you're ready to go. And if you prefer watching on the big screen, Rumble's available on all major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble, follow the channel, and be a part of the action. And if you're watching live and you're signed into Rumble with your free account or your paid account, premium account, and you've left a chat in the live chat on the current show, when I give away the free 1 month premiums, you become eligible to receive those. So get over there. And in addition to all of that, you get to watch our deep dives where you might just get to hear Mario say some crazy shit like Alexander the Great jumped the wall and went Dynasty Warriors 5 on a bunch of brownies. It's hilarious. It's intensive. If I do say so myself, we do a hell of a job on the deep dives. Those are Saturdays, and those are only available to our premium members. And Angles, man, if you get over to Rumble and start your account and log in, leave a comment tomorrow morning, I will give away at least one more freebie tomorrow morning if I see your name in the live chat for sure, right? And that's how you get free access to Rumble Premium. Right. Otherwise, go and sign up for Rumble Premium, use the code STUDIO, get $10 off, and get the annual subscription, and you never miss anything. So, again, thanks for watching. We love you. Be safe out there, guys. We will see you tomorrow.